Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Unicorner. I'm so excited for you guys to be here today, and I'm even more excited to have our guest Sheri Burns here. We are going to talk about Bucket Full of Dreams, and it's going to be awesome. And Sheri's cat is here too, and he may jump up in front of the camera, which he just did a second ago, and it was hilarious. So if that happens, feel free to laugh like I just did hysterically. So again, if anybody has any comments or questions, you can put them in the comment field. And even if you're watching the video replay after, you can still put comments, and we'll be going back and reviewing them afterwards as well to make sure that any comments or questions are answered. So, hello, Sheri.
Love you too, Carla.
Oh, you can see that. Yeah, Carla, that's nice. Thanks for tuning in. Awesome. So, I'm just going to get my stuff up here. There we go. So, hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for being here. You know how much I love you, so.
I love you, and I love your energy, and I love what you're doing, and I'm so honored that you asked me to do this. So
awesome. Well, you're the top of my list when I thought about who to ask to do this, so I'm super glad that you're here. So today we're going to talk about a bucket full of dreams, and you had brought this up, and I think this is such an amazing conversation to have because so many women actually struggle with this. So we have our bucket full of dreams as little girls, and then life happens, and we realize that we're not living those dreams. So can you tell us a little bit about your bucket full of dreams? Like, what dreams did you have as a little girl?
Well, when I was a little girl, probably some of the dreams that I had was I was going to be a dancer. And because I did dancing, and, you know, who doesn't like to wear a tutu? And then I also did figure skating, so I was going to be a figure skater. I was going to be, you know, on the world stage, which actually I got to do that. I should have been a little more specific about my dreams because I was a medal presenter at the 1990 World. So I did get a taste of being in, I just should have been like, competing, you know, I should have been a little more specific, but, and then, you know, I wanted to be a school teacher. I wanted to travel the world, and, you know, just thought that really anything that I wanted to do, I could do. And, then, you know, and then life happens, and you just kind of, sometimes it seems like your life goes in a momentum that you don't even really feel in control of. And, you know, after school, I went to university and just didn't really feel like, that was for me at that time. And so then I had jobs and worked and just wasn't really finding my field of work. In the meantime, I had met my husband and we got married. I decided at that point I wanted to go back to school and finish my degree, so I did. And then I started working, and I've been working ever since. You know, I had a family. I had to take care of my elderly parents. And in those 10 years when I was having a family and taking care of my parents and working, there really wasn't a lot of me left. And so pretty much a decade went by before I realized, like, where did I go? Where were my dreams, and how do I put myself back into my life?
Right. So that's kind of
really about taking care of other people.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that was kind of my next question was like, when did you realize? Because I guess we kind of just wake up one day and we're like, oh my God, I'm not living any of the dreams that I had. So when was that moment for you? Was there a time when you just kind of woke up and you're like, oh?
I think it was like gradual. gradual for me. Like I decided after I had kids that I was going to start doing things to be a participant in my life. So, but it was funny. I actually put my kids into things first before I'd say, hey, why can't I do that? So my son had been running Johnny Miles races ever since before he was 2. And it wasn't until I had my second child that I thought, well, why can't I do this? Why can't I participate in something that's bigger than myself? And I think that's what started sparking me into wanting to do more with my life is because I would want it more for my kids. And my oldest son, I had put him into karate, and I'm sitting on the sidelines going, why don't I do this? Like, why not me? So I started doing karate. I love it. I just love that I realize now I have more strength than I ever thought possible. Not just inside, like mental strength, but physical strength too. Like it taught me how much bigger, energy you have than what you even think is possible. So, probably when I was 40, my sister had said she would take me to Disney World for my 40th birthday. And that excited me to no end. I mean, like, it was like I was a kid again. And that, I think, was really the moment when I thought, you know what, I love travel. And I did some when I was younger, but then basically 20 years of my life went by that I didn't do what I love and what excites me and what, fills my bucket up.
Right. So, and I think it's like becoming a mom is such a huge moment in your life, but it's also a moment where you're, as great as that moment is and, how amazing it is and you wouldn't trade it for the world, there's just a time when you feel you kind of lose your identity with that as well. Do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it's no longer, your life is no longer about yourself. You have other people to take care of. And in the field that I work, I take care of people. And with children, I take care of people. And with my elderly parents, I took care of people. But what I didn't do is I didn't take care of me. So I just really forgot that. And I guess I didn't make time for it. There didn't seem to be time. And I didn't make myself a priority. And because I thought it was selfish to put me on, in my life. I guess I just felt like there was not enough time. And then what I've learned is it's really selfish if you don't, because you are not going to be fulfilled in your life unless you do participate in your life.
Right. And you end up feeling so much happier in your life when you take that time for yourself, because, when you don't take the time for yourself, you end up getting very stressed. And, when you're not living your truth and doing what things that you like to be doing, that really makes you feel awful. It makes you feel negative. It makes like all these negative emotions pop up. So yeah, it's so important to be able to take that time, because even if it was a half hour,
absolutely,
still make
if
world
it's
of
going
difference.
for a walk in the evening to clear your mind and listen to the birds sing, whatever it is that, if it's meditation, if it's a massage, whatever it is that fills you up, you really need to take time to do that, because you actually give more, you have more to give.
Oh, absolutely. So what does living your dreams actually look like right now?
So right now, I just came back from our family dream trip to Disney World. After after having gone myself, it just sparked the magic in me to want to do more and travel and do the things that I love and share it with my family. So I put it out into the universe and on my vision board and said I want a family trip, and we had the most amazing time, and it's such a memorable experience that I look forward to doing that again, whether it be Disney World or another trip somewhere else, because it was just, I realized that it's a passion of mine. So yeah.
Awesome. And you're really big on vision boards, because every time we talk, we end up talking about vision boards. And I know for myself, I've loved vision boards. Like, I remember hearing about The Secret like years and years and years ago from this man that was actually hiring me for a job, and he was actually talking about these vision boards and how he pictured the life that he wanted, he pictured the house that he wanted and the wife that he wanted and all this stuff, and how it all came true. Mm-hmm. And I remember at that point being like, that is a crock of shit. I did not believe it at all. And then obviously, you know, as time goes on, something shifts, and then, you know, you end up hearing, you know, you're open and ready to kind of embrace these things. So when I would hear about it again, then I'm like, okay, I heard about The Secret again. I'm like, okay. And the vision boards. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. And then, you know, it's so crazy to have the vision board there and then look at it like a little while later, and then you're realizing that the things that are on there, you have them, or you have some of them, or like, that's just a mind-blowing thing, I think. And I know that you've experienced that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you know, this family trip to Disney World was on my vision board. Another thing that we want to do is a family trip to Ontario to visit my sister, who I went to visit in Orlando, and we've got tickets to the Blue Jays game. So, you know, that's another thing that's on my vision board, that we already have our tickets booked to Toronto. So, you know, it's just being able to put the things. Because before, when, you know, with kids and work and commitments and this and that, you just kind of think, oh, I'll do that later, or, oh, there's, you know, we got to fix this first, or, but having, I don't know, come to a point in my life where one of the things that my parents had always wanted to do, or that I know my mother wanted to do, was to travel. And she said, when we retire, we're going to travel. Well, yes. When she retired, she ended up taking care of her mother, and then she ended up having Parkinson's, and they never traveled. And so here I was at like 40 with, you know, my parents at the end of their lives, and they hadn't done the things in their lives that they wanted to do. And so I thought, well, half of my life is past, and I have potentially half of it left. So I want to make the rest of my life the best of my life, and I want to do the things that inspire me, that make me filled with joy and happiness, and just see what is out there. Like, let's make it happen.
And I like how you said when your parents said, oh, when we retire. And that is something, you know, you hear a lot of the older generation say, and they've kind of instilled in the, you know, you go to university, you get your job, you work for many, many years, and then at the end of that, you get to have your fun and do all the things that you wanted. And that's just so backwards.
It is, because, you know, every day is a gift, and we don't know how many days we have. So if we wait till the end, may come sooner than we hope. So we want to live while we're living, and enjoy those moments, make memories, and whatever it is that inspires you. If it's like you've always wanted to take an art class. Go take the art class. You want to do yoga, go do yoga. Like, do what makes you feel good, because you can't wait till you're skinnier or you have more money in the bank, or, because if you're waiting for something else, you'll never get there. Right. So you just have to start and, make it happen.
I love that you said that. Live while we're living.
Yes. Yeah.
So
now,
true.
Crystal said, enjoy the journey. That's absolutely right. And that's kind of my motto this year. I did the resolution run with my family, and love the journey was my motto. And I'm trying to live my life by loving the now and not the destination, because if you're just focused on the destination, you're not going to be happy when you get there. You have to love what you're doing when you're doing it in the moment to truly love it when you get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you see a lot of that with people that are, say, trying to lose weight or something along those lines. Like, when I am this or when I'm that weight, I'm finally going to be happy. And that's really not how it works. It's that you have to really be happy and be present. Be present in your life right now. Like, get off your phone and start doing the things that you really love to be doing. And, use the that feeling that you have and I know that people feel this way, that they just feel kind of blah and feel kind of negative, and use that emotion to kind of guide you. Like, that's your compass. That's your wake up call where, you need to go in a different direction. So if you're really like feeling sad and kind of negative about where your life is, that's the wake up call. That's the compass. You need to do something else. You need to do the things that you love.
Unfortunately, sometimes we wait for like the door to slam in our face before we listen to those inklings, or the things that are saying, maybe the whispers, I guess, is to say, maybe there's a different way. Maybe we should be, we really have to be more mindful and insightful into ourselves, because that inner voice is sometimes really quiet. You just need to get quiet and listen, because it's not till something's yelling at you that often we listen, and then it's sometimes traumatic, right? Like,
yes.
So, yeah,
because our body
I've been through that.
Exactly. And your body it's just amazing what our body can do, and how much of a wake up call, your body's trying to warn you of these things, right? When you don't live your truth, your body is going to physically make you feel something that it might manifest itself as like a sickness, or
I've actually experienced that. I've given so much of myself that it could have possibly killed me. Like, I was hospitalized. Wow. So, I should have listened a lot sooner. But, I was trying to be the perfect daughter to take care of my mother, my father, my children, my husband, my family, and my job. So, you can actually give too much of yourself, and it can be harmful. So, that's, I guess, why I'm saying this, is because I get to the point where there was nothing left to give. And I had to look to fill up my bucket with things that I loved, and to enjoy life again.
And just explain kind of like the difference, right? So, like, explain how you felt when you weren't filling up your bucket or doing the things that you love, compared to now when you actually are doing the things that you love. Like, what's the difference?
Well, there's depression, there's anxiety, there's it's just overwhelming. Like, is all I can really explain it. It's never being able to give enough or do enough to ever make any, like I'm a people pleaser, or I was.
Right.
And so basically that wasn't serving me anymore, and I had to change and put limits and say, you know what, this is all I can do. Right. Because the more I did, the more people wanted. So I really had to set up boundaries in my life and say, I will give you this, but nothing more. And, you know, for a people pleaser like myself, it's really hard to do because you feel like you should always be able to do more. But I really had to say no. And that was kind of that was a hard lesson for me, but a much necessary one.
Yeah. So saying no, that's huge, being able to do that. So was it like you being hospitalized that kind of was like your wake up call? Was that kind of like the rock bottom?
That wasn't even the wake up call. Like that wasn't even. I went on like that for probably 8 years. Yeah, it was a long time. And, you know, 6 to 8 years of putting everyone else above myself. And so then I just decided that I can't live my life like that. This isn't why I'm here. There's more to my life than what I was living. And I'm going to take charge and participate.
Right. And Crystal says sometimes you're just going through the motions. So just to get through your day.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a survival really at that point when you're so overwhelmed that you don't know any different. So I don't even know, like, you know, there wasn't a one day. It was just, it took time really. So,
like I can remember my exact moment when I realized that I wasn't living my dreams. I can actually remember that exact moment. I was sitting at my desk at my corporate job. I lived in Montreal at the time, and luckily I had a window seat in my office. That was a bonus. So I can remember I turned around one day, and I had a stressful job. Like I was a travel agent, but my job was, you know, when something went wrong at the airport, you talk to me. So day in and day out, I went to work with this negative energy because it was always a negative situation that I was dealing with. And I can remember one day just turning around and looking out my window. And my window was there, but I had never actually like turned my seat around and actually looked out it. And I sat there and I looked out and I said, there's more than this. There is more to life than sitting here at this corporate job. And that was just the one pivotal moment where I was like, I took the next step. I ended up quitting the job. I moved home, and that just, you know, ended up snowballing into where I'm at right now. But, you know, it's amazing to kind of think of that moment, or, you know, in your case, like, it might not have been an exact moment, but it was just a pile up of so many years. That
there was like levels and layers, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't getting any better. It wasn't getting any clearer. And, you know, I call it, you know, some people might call it a midlife crisis, but I call it a midlife awakening. That
yes,
it was an awakening. Like, I came out of the fog and I thought, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just not. And that deciding that I'm not doing this anymore was enough to make me decide what is it that I want to do. And just, it allows you to be more present in your life and more grateful for the things that you have and the things that you choose and the people that are in your life. And I think like just the gratitude is a huge part, because not that anything's that much different in my life, but I am.
Yes.
You know, it's like I've changed, and I used to care so much more about what other people thought of me than what I thought of myself.
Right.
And now, I'm like, I think I'm a pretty nice person, and I like myself, and I like my life. I love my friends, my family. Like, I'm just so happy for my life and the people in it.
Right.
That that's changed.
Yeah, and that goes back to the question I was asking before, kind of like describe how you felt when you weren't doing the things that you love, or you weren't at this moment, but now that you're actually in this moment right now, like what are the emotions that are associated with how you feel right now?
Just like peace and happiness, and gratitude is huge, and like thankfulness. And one of the things, I recently came out of doing a coaching session with a bunch of women, and one of the things that I had gone into coaching for was to find what I was missing. And in that coaching, I realized that I already had everything I needed, that everything was already inside of me. And that was such a moment that, like, it just kind of changed my life. It made me more grateful for everything in my life. Even the negative experiences that you have, you learn from them, you grow from them. So I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't know what I know today, and I wouldn't be as appreciative. And so it's just.
I like what you said about the I just lost my train of thought. That happens to me. It's called mom brain, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm just getting back from vacation, so I have like vacation fog, like magical elves and fairy dust. I decided when I retire, I want to go to. I created my own job that I want to do at Disney. I don't know if they'll hire me to do it, but this is what I want to do. I want to be like chief fairy duster. Like, I just want to throw the dust on the little girls. Like, that would be my ideal job. Yeah.
It's like the Walmart career, right? But at Walt Disney World.
Disney, like fairy duster. Yeah.
Well, see, you said when you retire, you can actually do that right now for everyone here.
I could do that. It might be a little strange downtown,
so
fairy dust.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We'll have to have a fairy dust party.
Listen, that sounds delightful to me. So I remember what I was going to say. So I like how you said that when you went through the coaching process, you ended up realizing that you already had all these things inside of you. And that's what I love so much about coaching, is because every single person has that.
Yes.
They just don't know how to access it. And that's really the beauty of that whole process, is being able to help people kind of tap in and access that. So it's not really, it's not making you be something that you're not. It's just that you already have these things and they just need to come out.
Absolutely.
So, Absolutely. I love that.
Yes.
So let's chat a little bit about, because I think that a lot of people are actually, a lot of women are, the idea of trying to live your dreams or do these things that are actually in your bucket, as we said before, there's a lot of fear around doing that. So why do you think women are kind of fearful of living their dreams or taking those steps to live their dreams?
I think that, that's a big question. I think that women are, first of all, afraid of being judged, afraid of looking silly. We care a lot about what other people think of us, so we do things that we think other people will approve of, when it may not even be what we really want to do. So I think that is something that holds you back, is the fear of judgment of what other people think. And I think you really need to listen to your heart, listen to yourself and your guides that said, this is right for me, and just do it anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, it all goes back to that being accepted. And, you know, like back in the day when we were living in tribes and stuff, if we weren't accepted by that tribe, we were outcast. And when we were outcast, and we died.
Yes.
We couldn't survive on our own. So that's still ingrained in us, even now that's, you know, we don't live that way anymore. That's still how we think. So if people aren't actually going to accept us, we're going to be on the outside, that means I'm going to die. And that's really not what's going to happen. So, yeah.
No, so we just might feel that we're going to in the moment. But, yeah, no, we're really not going to perish.
Exactly.
It's all just in your head. It's your ego telling you, don't do it. It's fearful. It's uncomfortable. Just stay in your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to live your life and follow your dreams, you just have to never give up on them.
Yeah, exactly. So what risks have you taken in order to start kind of living your dreams? Has there been any risks involved in?
Well, one of the things that I started to do was I started a network marketing business, which was totally out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. But I decided that I wanted something more out of my life that couldn't be offered through my regular job. And one of the things that I love about it is the positive people that I'm surrounded by. It's just really a nice isn't even the word, but like just being surrounded by positive, inspiring people is amazing in itself. So I think the personal development that goes along with it was one of the things that attracted me to the business.
Right.
So that was something that I had done. And that's when I started feeling alive and starting to wanting more out of my life. And, I took the trip to Vegas, and I went to see Cirque du Soleil, which was on my bucket list of things to do. So nice. Just like really breaking out of my comfort zone of living my small life, mm-hmm. and deciding that there's so much more that I want to do. And I'm going to start doing it. So,
yeah. And it's amazing what happens, because a lot of people think that, like, say if you want to travel, right? A lot of people think like, oh, when I get to this point, then I'll be able to do that. But traveling actually can be done, when you really look at the logistics behind it. I mean, it can be done right now.
Right.
A lot of the things that we want to do can be done. It's just putting a lot of more thought and energy into it, and actually taking that next step to do it, and then things just start kind of falling into place. Do you think?
Right. Put the picture on your vision board. Give yourself a time of I want to go to Disney. We said we want to go to Disney in 2 years when my kids were 9 and 5. They were 9 and 5. And just going to make that happen come hell or high water. So things happen in your life to make those opportunities available for you. It's like the universe will give you what you want. And, if you focus on negative things, you're going to get negative things. If you focus on the positive, you're going to get more of those positive things.
Yeah, and it's all about the intention, right? Because I think that's really, vision board wise, why that works so well is that when you create this vision board and you see it, the intention is there in your mind, that is going to happen, right? And that's universally how this stuff works, right? So, if you actually don't think that if you think something's impossible, then it's impossible. But if you think something is possible, then it becomes possible. So, the vision board thing, it blew my mind the day that I looked at my vision board. I held it up in front of me, and I wanted a white SUV and a white sports car. That's what I had wanted for some reason. And then I'm like looking at it, and then I'm looking out of my driveway, and that's what we had in our driveway. You know,
Right.
we ended up getting, my husband got this new job, and things were going really well for me, and then all of a sudden, there they were. And I'm like,
Right.
okay. But the intention was there.
Right.
I believed it.
Yeah, I have vision boards for every aspect of my life. I have for my travel.
Mm-hmm.
I have one for my business. I have one for my personal goals that I want to achieve. So yeah, I just, and I have family ones. I have them with words. I have them with pictures, whatever inspires you. But yeah, I have them for every aspect of my life, and I look at them every day and I think, okay, because now I'll have one thing there and one thing there, and it's like growing that picture of having them all.
And it's just the same as writing like an I will list, right? So if you journal, or anyone out there that journals, I do this a lot. I'll say I will ... and then I make a list of all the things, and then just to be able to go back in time and then like scratch things off the list.
Yeah.
Like what an amazing feeling.
I have a list of, I have so many lists. I have a list of 100 things that makes me feel happy. Yeah. I have a list of 25 things I want to do in my life. And then I have my vision boards. Like I'm gold in my personality, so I like to have everything so that I can see it. But yeah, no, it's just putting it out there, and I love being able to check it off my list.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling to be able to do that. And one of my friends, Camilla. So Camilla and I had developed this youth self-development program, and but when she would look back in her journals, she had actually described this exact situation.
That doesn't surprise me. Camilla's cool? She's an angel. I love Camilla.
But see, that's just how powerful it is. Like that intention is there, that thought is behind it, and it comes to life if you really truly believe it. And just getting into that practice of like journaling's changed my life.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Meditation, and again, doing the coaching has really opened up my mind to potential that I didn't even realize was there.
Yeah. And like you said, it was already in there. It's just someone has to bring it out in you.
Yeah,
someone needs to help
I had this voice, the ego, that said, we call her Susan. And Susan likes to tell you of the limitations that you have. And you just have to say, you know what, Susan, I've got this, and I don't need your judgment, and I'm going to do okay without it. So, yeah.
I love that,
Susan to get in the back seat. Yeah.
So what advice would you want to give to women who, say, want to kind of start checking things off their dream list, or start emptying that bucket full of dreams that they have?
Okay. So I wrote down some things that
nice.
That I wrote down some things. One is never let go of your dreams. Even if you must have had them at some point, and maybe you feel like you don't have them anymore, but they're still there. So, take some time and think about, what is your dream? Is it to run a marathon, or, whatever it is for you?
Right.
And then once you decide that that's what you want, don't let go of it until you get it.
Right.
And then I have obstacles are there to test you, to see how bad you really want something. I remember going back to university, and it was really challenging to get back in and get courses. I was in tears, and I thought, this is too hard. Like, this shouldn't be this hard. And then a voice inside said, if it's not if it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Like, you know, and then I just said, yeah, I'm doing this. And, you know, I got my degree. So, I wanted to quit. I wanted to say, no, this is too hard. If it was meant to be, it was just going to happen. And I heard this voice that said, no, if it's worth doing, you have to dig in and make it happen. So that was one of those moments where I could have quit, and then always wondered, well, what if I hadn't finished, or what if I had? And so that was a lesson I learned in my life.
Well, that's where, like, one of the, like, the negative emotions, that's where it's, like, so beneficial, right? Like, so that negative, like, oh, I can't do this, like, then that makes you take, like, a positive action, right? So it motivated you to actually do this. Like, you can do this.
Yeah. If you want it bad enough, regardless of the obstacles, you will achieve it. Right. And then I said, people may not always like or support what you're doing. Just knowing your heart, if that's what you want. Don't listen to the people say, oh, you know, you can't run that marathon. That's too much for you. You know, I'm not running a marathon, but I'm using that as an example of, you know, people won't always support the changes in you. And, but if you know it's right for you, then you will find people that will support those changes.
Yeah, and surround yourself with those people, and just have an understanding that, you know, when friends and family are kind of like poo-pooing on your ideas, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to prevent you from getting hurt. So they feel like that's their way to do it. However, it's very, you know, it doesn't feel nice when somebody, you know, kind of rains on your parade. That's for sure. So you really have to be strong within yourself, and just hold that belief that, you know, like you said, you can do this, right?
Exactly. Another thing, a lot of this is we have discussed, but really loving the journey and not the destination. That was been a lesson for me. Be brave. It's not going to be easy, but it's so going to be worth it. So that's just, you know, telling Susan to get out of the driver's seat, get in the back seat. You know, I'm going to stand up and do what I need to do. And just, you have to be brave. Love yourself, nurture yourself, take care of yourself, do what makes you feel full. You got to fill that bucket up with the things that bring you joy. And if it's watching a sunset or watching a sunrise or, you know, candlelight, whatever it is that makes you feel at peace and relaxed, and just take time to do those things that make you feel good. Yeah,
and just really sitting down and making a list of actually what all those things are. Because I know I've mentioned this before in another video, but, you know, when I coach women and I ask them about what do they really love, a lot of people can't answer that.
I know you asked me one time, and I was like, okay, well, but I don't make time for that, or I don't, and you're like, so everything that you like or love, you don't make time for, and I'm like, right, you know, and so that I remember that conversation.
True.
So lessons with Deelle at coffee time. Then I also have every now and again pause to thank the universe for all it brought you. So that's that gratitude of like, you know, you have everything you need. You really, truly do. So, you know, and I like that you said that, because that's true. Like, we're never given anything that we can't handle, and we always have what we need. And that is so, so true. And I just want to mention something about, you know, I know earlier I asked you, like, what does living your dreams actually look like? And when I try to answer that question for myself, it's funny, I had
thought of that question, and I'm like, I want to answer this one too. What would I answer? And I like to describe living my dreams as being successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like to redefine what successful means. And being successful means having what I need and loving what I do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, so successful. And so, living my dreams is me feeling successful.
And that's exactly what I had, come to the conclusion is, I always felt like I was chasing a dream that was just out of reach, and that I wasn't really full without having something more. And I totally realized, you know what? I don't need anything more. Like, I'm truly grateful with everything that I have. I have a wonderful husband. I have 2 beautiful boys. We have a house. We have 2 vehicles. Like, we have food, like everything that I could ever want or need, I have. So it was just being thankful for what I have, and everything else is a gift. And gifts are to be shared, and, just people in your lives are gifts, right? Like, you coming into my life was a gift, so.
I felt the same.
Thank you. I love your energy, Deelle.
Oh, you're the best. I love that. That's some great advice. I like that list that you came up with for sure. And I have a little bit of some takeaways too, actually. I made a list too.
You must be gold too.
Yeah. So I guess to take away from this, like your list combined with this list, we're combining lists. The first thing would be to actually, like I said before, make a list. So what is your bucket full of dreams? Like, what is it? Because like I said before, you can't answer that. You yourself couldn't answer that question, right? So it's being very, very clear on what that is. And then pick one thing actually on the list. Taking on too many things, that's overwhelming, and that really doesn't work. When people get overwhelmed, they don't do anything and they shut right down. So pick one thing. And then figure out what's the step that you can take right now in order to get the ball rolling towards that one thing. And then think about how you are going to feel when you actually reach that goal or reach that dream. Because that is very, very important, because you need to remember that feeling when times get really rough.
Right.
Because they will,
and
right?
You need to take that feeling and start feeling it now.
Right.
Like you already have it. That's part of the secret, is you already have that feeling inside you. Absolutely. So, that's why people who, when I lose, 20 pounds, I'll feel better. No, you have to feel better now, because you're not going to feel any differently about yourself 20 pounds less. You might fit your clothes a little better, but you're still going to be the same. And that's why a lot of weight loss doesn't work, because you really have to be happy with you now. So.
Yes, absolutely. And, it's all about kind of like live your dream. I read that in a book that I'm reading last night. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, believe it, live it. I was coaching a lady earlier, and we were talking about, how she was like, she wants to start a business, but she is already in the process of selling her stuff. And she couldn't actually say that she owns a business or she started a business, right? And I was like, well, you just have to live it. Like, say I own a business. Like, you sold somebody something, somebody gave you money for your service, you officially have a business. And she's like, oh, well, I never thought of it like that. I thought, when I have my business registration number, or when I have my business cards, then I have a business. And it's like, no, live it right now.
Right.
You own a business, you know, you are an artist, you are a business owner.
Don't diminish your talents or skills or ability, like own them. And, you know, we all have different gifts, and own your gift. Yeah. And develop it and be thankful for it, and don't diminish it.
Right. Exactly. So then the other thing on my list was, you know, when you reach one dream, then pick another one. Yeah. And then you just repeat that over and over again. And just, you know, don't be scared. Don't be scared to take a risk. Don't be scared to take that time for yourself, even if it's a half hour. You know, like, just, failure is not an option, right? Like, failure doesn't even exist. Failure is, like, it's only a lesson. There's no failure. You know, you're important, you're valuable, your unique gift is needed in this moment here. That's why you're here, right? So don't keep all those things bottled up inside.
No, you're being selfish if you're not sharing your gifts with the world, because we are all here for a reason, and we all have talents to bring to the table. And if you're not sharing your talents, then, you know, not only are you hurting yourself by not sharing them, but you're hurting everybody else who would love to enjoy them, whether it's, you know, singing or art, or, you know, being a teacher in a class, or, you know, being a student in a class. Like, just, you know.
And it's not like you're trying to, like, reinvent the wheel. Like, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, like, it's already been said. It just, some things haven't been said with your voice, with your unique take on the world and that subject, right? So a lot of people get caught up in, like, they get scared about, say, starting a business because, oh, there's already so many people doing that. Well, yes, there is, but no one has, you haven't done this business.
Right. It's your story, your face, your heart. You know, there's so many examples. Like the Wright brothers is one, is that, you know, they weren't supposed to be the first to invent flight, but they were, because they persevered, they put the heart and determination into it. And so just, you know, just do what makes you feel good is basically, you know, what I'm saying here. And just putting yourself in your life. And you know, like I said, I gave so much of myself that I kind of lost myself. And it took a long time to get me back. And I don't want to see anybody else, you know, miss out on opportunities in their life by not taking chances.
Right. And now, I mean, you know what it's like to be, you know, not living your truth or not living your dreams. Like, you know what that feels like. And physically your body was working against you because you weren't doing that. And now you know the other side of it, right? You can see the other side, and it's just so much better to be on this side. But it's almost like you appreciate it more because you've gone through those.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there, is that because things were so difficult at a time in my life that, you know, literally was survival. And at that time I didn't know any other way. I was, you know, just getting through day to day, and like dreams weren't even in my mind. Like sleep was in my mind. But there was a lot of years that I had not dreamed. Like there was no dream. And so, you know, basically just having an opportunity to start dreaming again. And that was inspiring to me. Right. So I just, you know, I would just want to make sure that if anybody can relate to what I've experienced, that you can still dream. You can still fill up your bucket and start doing so as soon as you can. because, you're worth it and you're important, and, live your life to the fullest. So,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's such great advice. And I mean, I'm so glad to have this conversation with you because, this is stuff that a lot of people know, but it's just nice to hear when other people struggle and then have other people kind of like in your corner, right? Like cheering you on, like you can do this and you can do this, right? Like
absolutely.
you can do pretty much anything.
Anything.
Right?
Like, it's literally anything that you want. You can, Bob Proctor he's also from The Secret. He said, if you can envision it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
So that was such a noteworthy statement that he made. It stuck with me. And I thought, wow, like that's incredible.
I was coaching hockey. And we were playing a game, and one of the little kids came off. I coach like really young, like novice IP level, so 5, 6 years old. And one of the kids came off the ice, and he was flying, like he was going so fast. So I said, "Oh my gosh, you're so fast out there!" And he's like, "In my mind, I'm a cheetah because if I can see it, I can be it."
I love it.
Like a 5-year-old kid said that to me. If I can see it, I can be it. And I was like, yep, okay.
Love it. He already knows. Yeah.
Like it's just, that's it. Like, you just want, we know what it's like to struggle.
Yes,
and we know what it's like to live on the other side. So it's just trying to get people to come on over to this other side. It's not that you're never going to struggle again or you're never going to feel negative or anything like that. No, like that stuff doesn't go away, that's for sure. But at least when you're making the effort to do the things that you love or do the things that you've always wanted to do, I mean, that just builds you up so much that when the negative stuff does happen, you can really guide yourself through it so much easier.
You can brush it off. Like you can, if you've experienced joy and happiness, anytime that there's, negativity coming your way, you just know that is just a passing phase, right?
Right.
Yesterday, Monday, after I just got back from Disney, I hit a bump in the road, literally, and got a flat tire. Flat tire. And I thought, now the old me would have been, I was a little nervous and panicked because I was on a way to another appointment.
Yeah.
But the old me would be like, oh no, I just got back from my vacation and now this negative thing's happening. And I would have kind of dwelled in that, why is this happening to me? Mm-hmm. And then I just went, oh, well, it's a new tire. And I had to get the winter ones off anyway. So
yeah, I
just kind of shrugged it off more and made a kind of a joke out of it. Like, oh, there's a flat. I took a picture of my flat tire.
Yeah. I know. And that's funny. It. I mean, the bad things are going to happen. It's funny that we're kind of bringing this up because tomorrow I'm actually doing a talk about how we use our negative emotions to positively take action in our lives. So, yeah, it's interesting that, you're still going to feel negative emotion, but you're not living there anymore, right? You still feel it.
Yeah.
But then you kind of let it go.
It's not a nice place to live.
No.
So, live in the unicorn state.
Oh, I'm so glad that you threw the unicorn in there.
I had to throw the unicorn in there. Every time I think of unicorns, I think of you. So.
Aw, I love that. Seriously, I'm obsessed with them, as you know.
Yeah, I know.
So I just missed one of the comments here. Wanda had said earlier, she said, and the crazy thing is the comfort zone is not comfortable.
No, it's not.
That's a really good point.
That is a great point because it's actually very uncomfortable for you to not live your dreams.
Yes. And on that note, it's like 2:00.
It's 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a unicorner, and thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And for anyone watching the video replay, again, feel free to add any comments or questions. We will be going back to them after the fact to check out all the comments. But again, thank you for everyone for watching. And oh my gosh, I just love you guys so much. I'm just so happy to do these videos for you guys and have these obviously amazing, inspiring women on. And hopefully they're helpful. And yeah, thanks.
Mwah.
Thank you, Sheri. Mwah. See you later, everybody.
Bye.